Gabriel, who was in the World Championship points playoff at the last European Championship, did not make it to the World Championship, but he's trying again this season. Had a really impressive finish with a second place already at the German Open a couple weeks back, and is now here with another huge finish already in this tournament too. But it will be Pierre taking revenge after not attending YCS Lille, leading us off here for this semi-final.
And this is a very interesting start. Of course, we know that the K9 Vanquish strategy is very, very good going first, and we get access here to the whole issue, which means that we'll get access to both engines if we want to, because of course we will get access to 2 level 5 and therefore to the K9 Reaper. And this is very interesting because Pierre, he used to be very, very good in regionals, but on the international scene was not as good as on the regional. So he has a chance to just get redemption and maybe go to the finals here.
I mean, that's a cool sign for everybody else in the community though, right? When you're having constant success on the regional level, eventually that success is also going to transform to success at the biggest stage, at the European stage, at this YCS here, with him being in the top 4. But there was a dominant impulse on the effect of Maliss. How well can Pierre do after that? Nothing after Gabriel, and the Maliss deck will take action here.
Yeah, exactly. They're stopping Pierre right in the tracks. We know that there is an Ash Blossom in Pierre's hand. Maybe this might be enough. We do see a lot of fragilities in the Maliss consistency right now, but we're about to see exactly what Gabriel can bring to this semi-final.
And that's very, very important, of course, the fact that Dominus Impulse was actually used and stopped Pierre from special summoning. We set a card. Is it the sign that we bricked, or is it the sign that we are normal summoning a Maliss monster? We are going to see that in a few seconds. Of course, you talked about it, Dale. The fact that the Maliss strategy sometimes has some difficulties to see some starters, but there is one.
And we do even still have a trap to set in our deck, as the White Rabbit will be activated and is also resolving. And from my personal experience, whenever I'm playing against Maliss, they have a normal summon to follow up a set card, and Gabriel does here as well.
Absolutely not the best normal summon though. I mean, usually you prefer to have something like a Dormouse, which is way better, but still you can have full combo over here, especially considering the fact that Pierre does not have a whole lot to interrupt Gabriel. For now, we are going to activate the MTP, so it was not a bait, it was actually the Maliss trap card which was set, and we see, of course, the Ash Blossom used there. I think there was no better way to use it, apart from the effect of Chasing Cat, of course.
Yeah, I mean, this is good here because with the cards we know for the moment, these would not be combo, as there only is now the GWC, which cannot even be activated now anymore when we go into that Link 1 here, which is probably going to be a Lingo Rebo. Yup, there we go. So we will need further extension, and do we have that? Okay, okay.
This is the sign, in my opinion, of course, to a special summon from deck, because we know that we don't have a whole lot to interrupt, so we might just try to remove the Linguribo and destroy it with the Raisin, which is of course special summon in this column. We are going to be able to access a little bit more engine, of course, in this process, but the most important part is, of course, to just remove the Link one. We don't want the Maliss player to get access to the
This is
enough. Pierre wins the game on the spot with the special summons, and you talked about it, Dale. I mean, sometimes the Maliss strategy, it just has some difficulties to stick on the field with the bodies. You want to get access to 3 bodies on the field, to 3 monsters, so that you get access to the Red Ransom and therefore to the field spell, which is of course very, very important. But there, the start was not that great. Starting with the White Rabbit, it gives some advice, and yeah, Pierre recognizes that he didn't have a whole lot, because the Ash Blossom, let's face it, Ash Blossom plus Holy Sue is not enough usually to stop the deck, but here it was actually enough to go 1-0. So Pierre going 1-0 in this semi-final, that's a great start for him.
It is, and I think it was also showcase why this Vanquish Soul deck is so strong, because this is so hard to stop. Yes, they had Ash Blossom on the first turn to stop the Holisu, but guess what? On the second turn it will just try to do the same thing again, so you will need a second Ash Blossom or it's just going to do what it was originally intending to do, and Pierre made good use of that, winning this first game impressively enough. But actually, the Maliss deck, it's still in there. It's my pick to win the whole thing. Of course, that wasn't the best first game here for Gabriel, but still, of course, in this.
I mean, yeah, the fact that the Maliss strategy is not that good going second, to be honest, let's face it. If you don't draw that many hand interactions, it's a bit difficult against the Vanquish Soul K9 strategy. Now, he's going to be able to go first, and going first, we know that this is very, very scary. Of course, the Vanquish Soul K9 has some abilities to play with the Odyssey, of course, but also the access to Izuna, which is so good because it allows you to remove some bodies which are crucial to this strategy.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think the side day is going to be incredibly important on this one. As you've already said, you want to try and take as much advantage as you possibly can. But what you need to take into account is when you're coming to an event like this, we already know that the highest represented deck will be Dracutel. Most players will be prepared for that. Maliss being one of those decks that has started to slowly come back into popularity kind of makes a lot of duelists start to think, double-check their side deck and everything else in between. And we're about to go straight over to the table to see exactly what these players have brought in and see if we're going to be going into either the game number 3 or if we're going to be able to move on to the final from game number 2. So let's get straight over to the table.
Already quite the tournament run, but now when you are so close to the trophy, you of course do not want to stop the winning. So Gabriel now will have to make it in 2 games in a row. Can he make that happen? We shall see.
Yeah, it might be this decisive game to enter the final. Will Gabriel have what it takes to try to get back in this duel and equalize 1-1. This is a good start, to be honest. A way better start. Having access to the Chessy Cat is very good because...
Wasting no time!
We can do City Holiday. We talked about it, and the ability to just remove the body, taking control of the Chessy Cat.
And is there as well. So we can possibly even get that one going later on in the turn. That Chessy Cat is mine! Sets a card here on Gabriel's end. Is this maybe the end of his tournament run? Quite possibly is, as he's passing it over to Pierre. Yeah, you can have the Chessy Cat back, but it's my turn now.
That is absolutely insane. The fact that you don't destroy and therefore you don't have access to the resource in the graveyard. You cannot activate something like Bystial to try to get the body on the field. And now we activate the inscription. We've seen that before during the tournament. So strong over the past formats. And look at Gabriel's face. It doesn't look very good for him. We are going to special summon from the deck thanks to the Odyssey and get access to more resources. Gabriel's laughing, but I'm not sure that he's very happy about this one.
That one's actually interesting though, siding in Gravekeeper's Inscription going second. I feel like that card surely is a staple going first against a lot of matchups, but siding it in going second against Maliss seems to be quite valuable as well. So Pierre, even though the Draco Tail deck was the most represented, definitely had an idea to go into Maliss as well.
Yeah, exactly that. Gravekeeper Inscription, putting a lot of work in, being able to choose one of the 3 effects as well to give you a bit more versatility depending on the matchup that you're in. So when you are against Maliss, it kind of does allow you to counteract the Bystials in some way, but also allows you to deal with that White Binder. And we're going to be seeing a Droll and Lockbird in response to the search from Pierre.
Yeah, the Droll and Lockbird, of course, very good against the Mitsurugi variants, but also against the Vanquish Soul K9. It will prevent Pierre from adding more resources from its deck to the end, and we know that Vanquish Soul likes to do that.
Destroys the Chessy Cat now because it is of course in the same column as Bad Razin, but how much more can we do here under Droll and Lockbird? Usually this deck can still put a lot of monsters onto the field, so will it be enough to make a full 8,000 points of damage? Or maybe not even 8,000, because against Maliss, when you bring him down to like 70, like when you do 7,000 points of damage, that can already be a really awkward situation as they cannot pay that many life points anymore. Oh, Borger is also of course there. That's so much possible damage here.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that the Borger can literally remove a lot of life points from Gabriel is of course huge. We are going to enter battle phase and inflict a lot of damages, and as you just said, Basti, I mean, you have to pay some life points to be able to activate the Maliss effects, and I think that under the inscription and on top of that, with so little life points, it might just be it. Pierre might just be able to enter the final.
Wants to destroy a card now as well. That is going to go through. Which one are we going after? Gabriel, that card did not allow him to play it, and there's an infinite impermanence, which we did not even want to chain. Of course, it wasn't really worth using it on any of the Vanquish monsters, as we knew about the Borger in the hand. Now the burn effect comes through as well. Gabriel,
That's the handshake! Pierre wins the semi-final 2-0 in a very convincing way and will bring the Vanquish Soul Canine strategy in the final. It will be him representing France, trying to win it all. That's absolutely insane. What a semi-final it was. And I'm a little bit, sad for Gabriel because he couldn't show a whole lot. We didn't get to see a single Maliss link during the semi-final.
That's true.
That is so horrible for him.
It is quite tough, but I think with all the World Championship qualifying points that he's earning here from this top 4 finish, it will be all right for him, as he is bringing him in an even better position to possibly go get into that playoff again here at the end of the season at the next European Championship. So definitely something to not be too mad about. And as that was over so quickly, of course, we have the backup feature match. And in that case, that means that is our second top 4 match. So why don't we see it? We know it's an all-Italian affair. So let's go over to that backup feature now. So what do we have here? Look, we have the full match already finished on the one side, and here they are still in game 1 between Alessandro and Giuseppe. Mitsurugi K9 versus Sky Striker Yami. And as we know, that is the pure version pretty much of the Yami deck, which is interesting because that means even though in representation Mitsurugi Yami has clearly taken over the pure version of the deck, when it comes to ultimate success, the pure version goes a little further here in the hands of Alessandro.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think one of the big things that does let them get a little step a bit further is the accessibility of the Dominus Purge. It's just such an incredibly good hand interaction that could be utilized to its max potential in Yummy. It does open up more space as well for a little bit non-engine to give you a bit more interaction in sacrifice of a little bit less aggression. And we're seeing it holding its own right now against Giuseppe with his K9 strategy. Not seeing any Mitsurugis from his side of the field right now in rotation as of yet, but we are about to move over to Giuseppe to draw the turn.
Maybe a little Habakiri off the top, that could definitely help. But we will see going into the graveyard. Also, of course, as most of you viewers have probably realized already, there is no clock running here during the semi-finals, as from top 8 onwards. Of course, we have no more time limits for any of our matches, so this could basically still go on for, I don't know, another 2 hours or something. Are you ready, guys, to have that kind of a match here? I'm sure we all do, as that would mean we get plenty of high-pressure dueling action.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool. The fact that we have access to both semifinals is very, very good.
For sure.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly that. So just like every single one of you at home, we are locked into our seats. We are about to see who will be joining Pierre in the final of YCS Bologna 2025. And it's going to be either Giuseppe or Alessandro.
Giuseppe going through his deck here. No response to the K9 Ripper. Already has one card picked out there. And I think we're trying to go after Noroi, but maybe changing plans here. Noroi is still at the top of his deck, but it rather looks like Jokel. Okay, that decision is made very carefully here, going back and forth between the options, and Jokel in the end is the one we like the best.
Yeah, exactly that. I think we've already seen it in the past. One thing you really need to remember about the K9 strategies, even though they have that amazing ability to be able to be normal summoned, there is a caveat to that. Your opponent must have 2 cards or more in their hand, and if they don't have that, you might instantly be drawn to a card that you kind of miss that factor that they may not have, quite like Alessandro right now. 0 cards in the hand.
But all those set cards, and I'm sure they will be impactful. Interestingly enough, the Dominus Purge though is banished right now, so I'm not sure whether there is another trap card in the graveyard, which could of course be relevant when it comes to a second Dominus Purge possibly coming into the occasion.
I've got the feeling that we are going to enter battle phase here and try to attack. with the Reaper.
I mean, then the Gaia Charger would be cool, right? Gaia Charger into Zeus, but I think those days are over. Back in the day, you did do that. I remember me in my virtual world deck, for example, I always had that in to have a material morph of a Zeus, but not going to happen here. I mean, that's smart, because before the Synchro monster can even activate its effect, just attacking over it is nice.
It is actually pretty nice, and that is one of the weaknesses of the Yuumi cards. In the Yuumi strategy, is that you can literally, if you don't activate anything, they cannot return to the extra deck and special summon 2 other monsters. And yeah, I would like to put an emphasis on the fact that Giuseppe has been very creative with his Mitsurugi Canine deck.
Sure.
I've talked with a few people who helped him build the deck. And the idea behind that is that the Canine cards are, of course, very, very strong into the Dracotail matchup, and very strong in general, because, you know, the pure Yuumi strategy is not really on the rise recently, even if here we see it in top 4, and therefore the Canine cards have a lot more applications, so you can use them against a more a larger variety of matchups.
And I feel like even against Yami, you do actually have your Mitsurugi cards, right? Because historically, Murakumo just taking away all of those all of those Yami monsters, that matchup always was kind of favored towards the Mitsurugi decks. So I feel like we're okay with that. Has been a while that I saw the Nightmare Phoenix coming down here from Giuseppe's side. Discarding 1 card to destroy one of those many spell traps. Gives up on a Ghost Spell and Haunted Mansion. That's a commitment into his Phoenix.
Absolutely, because the Ghost Spell is very good in that matchup. Of course, you want to prevent your opponent from special summoning back those monsters from the graveyard. So, I mean, what are the two other cards?
Well, I guess we're about to find out, because Giuseppe just left that decision to a dice roll.
We all know it, right?
That is the roll of destiny right there. We know that there is a joggle in the hand, we believe, so this is going to be very, very interesting. Will the dice be on his favor, or will it mislead him a little bit? The fact that Alessandro is thinking about it means it is actually quite an effective choice off of the back of that Nightmare Phoenix.
We've all been there before, right?
Yes.
Just rolling the dice, deciding which card we want to destroy, because we can't make the decision ourselves. But Alessandro will chain the Yummy surprise. So I'm not too sure whether that actually was a good hit then for the Nightmare Phoenix, because now we just have the Synchro that we previously dealt with in the battle phase back on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And Giuseppe didn't look very satisfied with that, to be honest. I mean,
is that a Typhon?
I think so, yeah.
When a Link monster is moving zones, that can only mean that it is becoming an Exceed monster. And there is, of course, the Slayer, the big Typhon. And that usually, and also in that case, will mark the end of this turn for Giuseppe. So maybe besides the Jockle, there is no other level 5 monster anymore, which we can summon out possibly.
Yep.
That is rough.
It does make you think that discard of the Ghost Spell, you don't want it to kind of come back and haunt you, I would say, in the next kind of game. But we'll be able to see. This could be exactly like we saw Giuseppe in the previous round, where we ended up having access to 2 Draw and Lock Birds. There could be a second Ghost Spell, but then it could also be trying a way to mislead Alessandro a little bit here as well, so that he doesn't kind of get too comfortable with the position we are currently in.
Okay, Alessandro now thinking, probably happy that that was the choice there, that we see the Typhon on the field.
Yeah, and this is what I absolutely love. We've already previously mentioned this as well, but the fact that all of these decks kind of have their weaknesses and strengths against each other, it's just an amazing round circle of everything you need, because the Yummies have great synergies and great plays against the Canine strategy, because they try not to, where at all possible, activate card effects in the hand and the graveyard. So if you are a little bit cautious when you're trying to approach the strategy and you're already aware that your opponent is playing Canine cards, as we saw with Giuseppe going through his graveyard a moment ago, we didn't really see any Mitsurugis there, so we've probably only seen Canine pieces as it stands, and that gives Alessandro a lot to go for and how to be very defensive, especially with a field already built here.
For sure is, and Alessandro now thinking whether he wants to do anything else in the end phase, or have we passed the turn? Is it the turn of Alessandro already? Because he is carefully considering whether to activate something right here, right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if the Typhoon is going to do a whole lot, to be honest. I mean, this is kind of a desperate move to special summon this one.
Surely.
And yeah, we know that the Mitsurugi cards are very good, of course, indeed, in the Yuumi strategy, as you just said before. And I've got a feeling that when you don't see those cards, the Canine, I mean, they are not that good, to be honest.
Yeah, unfortunately that when you navigate around them so much, and you've probably navigated, if you're Alessandro, you've probably navigated quite a few K9 matchups in the past, or even just today or over the general weekend. We are just trying to find our way to get past this Typhoon. I can't imagine it's going to be that much of a sticking point as we try to push a little bit further forward, but we're going to be seeing if Giuseppe has any interactions left with those two cards in hand. One of them we believe is going to be the Jockle, and maybe that unknown set card could be the ace in the hole.
And I think that we are going to enter battle phase real soon.
Battle phase, indeed. They're so big due to the field spell boost. So with an empty field after the attack over that Typhon, that is definitely more than 8,000 and for sure also more than 7,500. So game one goes to Alessandro Bognolo here in this matchup between him and Giuseppe. And I mean, Alessandro, he doesn't want to lose since top 8 started, because I saw him. He very quickly won his top 8 match as well against Maliss with a swift 2-0. So maybe since Top Card started, he has decided no more losing. We lost twice in Swiss. Let's stop with that and let's just take it all down now.
Yeah, what a time to decide to do that.
Right?
Get to the top 8, then now I'll decide. We will take it a little bit lightly as we go through. But no, this is going to be amazing. Giuseppe is no stranger to pressure. He just defeated Joshua Schmidt in the previous round as well. On the main stage, he's now on the backup feature match. We're going to be able to see which one of these duelists is going to be able to kind of make their way to the final. This is probably going to be the second most pressure you're going to feel of the entire weekend, and in some duelists' chances their entire lives. But this is what you work to get to. This is the position you want to be in. If you are not entering events like this, you're not going to have the chance to do it, and both of these duelists are more than capable of taking it all the way.
They are. They have had previous success. They have been YCS toppers. They are in the Italian community also just very successful, topping and winning regionals there left and right, and now maybe their moment to shine, because so deep into a tournament, none of them has ever been. Top 4 is their biggest success so far, and for one of them, that journey will even continue into the finals and into a possible title. We will have actually a first-time YCS champion here this weekend, right? We had options for multiple times champions, now still in top 8, as Joshua Schmidt, of course, could have added a title to the list, but now we can proudly say that there will be a new name with that add-on of being a YCS champion.
Absolutely, and in this matchup it's going to be very interesting, because of course we saw that there are 2 parts in this deck. The Mitsurugi K9 strategy. The K9 strategy was not there for the Yomi, but still you have to face the Yomi, but you still have the Murakumo, which is of course amazing to deal with all those bodies. So I think that the game will revolve around the ability to draw those Mitsurugi cards and to resolve the effects, because of course it's not going to be that easy. There are some cards like the Dominus Purge, which is of course very good and does not trigger the K9 cards. So yeah, it's going to be very tricky.
Yeah, and I mean, we have seen so many hybrid versions where Mitsurugi was paired with something else. We saw the Yami deck, where there was a bridge in both directions. Of course, the Mitsurugi Yami deck, Mitsurugi Ryziel deck as well, which had bridges as well. So it's actually, I'm quite curious that this version now, the K9 Mitsurugi deck, where there is no real bridge between the two things, you just have to draw them together, is the one that is successful in the end here, that made it into top 4. I guess when you just draw them together, it's also kind of fine, kind of nice, right?
If you decide so, right?
Yeah.
Let's see whether he decides here.
Exactly that, fully exciting. There's definitely a card in Alessandro's side deck that I am eyeing up right now that we saw in the previous feature match. I'm not sure how well you could best implicate it, but it will kind of mean that some of the interactions that will come from your opponent using the K9 strategy will be a lot more minimized. But then a real big question that you need to kind of consider if you're in Alessandro's position is you already know how to naturally counter the K9 strategy themselves.
Yeah.
So you don't need to worry so much about making sure that Lupus is live or making sure that Azuna is live. You actually need to now start to worry about the ritual side of this one being the Murakumo and, of course, the Mitsurugis. So we're going to see how these duelists are going to navigate, because for one of them, we're going to be stepping into the final very, very shortly. So let's head over to the table and see which of our duelists it will be.
And there we go. How many interruptions can Alessandro accumulate in his hand? And does Giuseppe even have a push to start off with?
I mean, we know that the Yami strategy usually has a lot of hand interactions, and we start very, very strongly here from Giuseppe with the Pot of Prosperity. You can get access to so many cards. Usually you can literally banish 6 cards in the Mitsurugi strategy, and considering the fact that we are post side, I mean, you want to dig into your deck and to get those resources.
You definitely want to, but on the other end, that is a card, in my opinion, that you would always try to hold after already using some other cards in your hand. So if I'm Alessandro, and if I have something along the lines of a Dominus Purge or an Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, I'm throwing it at this Pot of Prosperity with lightning speed. He's looking into his hand, and there seems to be an option, there seems to be an answer. Ash Blossom answers it, and does Giuseppe have anything to follow this up with?
That is a good way to follow.
Okay.
You've already mentioned, though, if there is a purge there, this could cause issues again. There is a purge!
Now searching for your deck, Mr. Giuseppe.
We've said that the Yami strategy has a lot of hand interactions,
passing.
and we are passing over here. Giuseppe wanted to activate the Pot of Prosperity because he wanted the following spell to resolve, but then after 2 interactions, he's forced to pass turn. It might be it. We are going to normal summon the Fuvalos. We don't have any answer, and therefore we are being able to special summon the Almirage. Now, we're going to see the Yami strategy with the Cookie being special summoned, and this is very good here for Alessandro. We know that the K9, you cannot trigger them during the entire turn and still get a pretty strong field with the Yami. There is the Ash Blossom.
Okay, that's good.
Do we have something to extend?
At least prevent them from getting all those additional Yami monsters into rotation. But still, of course, this can be transformed into a Snatchy Yami.
Oh. This is going to be the case, and we are going to activate the effect, of course, to get access to the field spell and being able to get another monster on the field and keep comboing.
This may already all that it needs, because we saw it. We saw how the first game ended. When you just have this field spell on the field, your monsters keep on adding in terms of attack points. You just need that field spell, the Yami Usement Minion, alongside all of those Yami monsters that can easily get over 8,000 points of damage. But we will need a couple more of those cute little Yami monsters to get to those.
They are actually cute, but they can get really big as well indeed. And we are going to see if Alessandro can just push through and get the game right here. A very good situation over here. I mean, the problem is that we didn't get access to the resources thanks to the Cup C, and that might be a problem in the long run. But for now,
I mean, it definitely also hurt Alessandro that he had to normal summon the Mulchami Fuvalos, because if that would have been a Yami monster in the graveyard, we could have chained, of course, to the Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, bringing those Yami monsters back. But a Fuvalos in the graveyard cannot be brought back by any kind of Yami Synchro monster. But we still keep on going. Look at that, bringing back those Yamis from the graveyard, and there's no response from Giuseppe. It keeps on adding up. This is almost enough that we have here.
That's absolutely huge, of course, because we can now get access to some more cards on the field and to keep comboing. Giuseppe, 2 cards in hand.
Oh, Yami surprise!
Is this going to be it?
This is it! The finals! Alessandro Bognodo with pure Yami is the second finalist that we were looking for. So he will be facing off against Pierre Bugals in the finals. So it will be Yami versus Vanquish, so K9, the 2 decks. Justice Hunter still out there rocking with those 2 archetypes being from that deck, of course, with the K9 cards and the Yami cards. And it's interesting to see that pure Yami may still be the way to go.
Absolutely, I was about to say that. We just find 2 decks in the final, and we didn't expect those decks at all. We're about all the, the Draco Tail strategy, the Yami Mitsurugi strategy, even the Maliss strategy. But in the final, we are going to find 2 other decks. The Vanquish Soul K9 on one side, and on the other side, the Yami strategy. And to be fair with you, I didn't expect Yami to be in the final. Pure Yami, it has a lot of problems against the Mitsurugi cards and also into the Draco Tail matchup. And that represents more than half the room. So this is a huge problem for the deck, but still in the final over here for this France versus Italy matchup.
Definitely. I think the Vanquish Soul K9 variant, with how the tournament was going, you could have pictured that deck may make its way into the finals. I think that one definitely was coming, but the pure yummy one, I definitely am with you that I'm very surprised about that one as well.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think the biggest difference is going to be those additional effects that a lot of people are not considering. A lot of people are now expecting Yummy and Mitsurugi to be the way, so then you don't worry about the Purge. We've seen how important the Purge was. Usually an Ash Blossom on a considered bait card in the form of Pot of Prosperity or just one of the preparation rights, you would feel a little bit freer and go, okay, cool, my next card is now going to activate and resolve. But that Purge comes in, stops one of those insanely powerful spell cards in order to kind of get everything rolling, and we saw just how very combative that was.
Absolutely. So Pure Yummy against Vanquish K9. At this point, when Pure Yummy makes it into the finals, I'm almost inclined to say maybe it just wins. Maybe we were just all blind and just disregarded the fact that this deck is still so strong. Bognolo again hasn't lost a game since Top Cut started. On the other end, I think Pierre, he won 2-0 here in top 4 as well. And thinking back of his top 8 match against Dadido Siracusa, that may have been a 2-0 as well. So maybe Pierre is equally unstoppable. So one of them will have to lose at some point, I guess.
But he's in the zone, but of course there's going to be a decisive factor in the final because of course the Vanquish K9 strategy, there are some K9 cards, and we saw the fact that the Yummy strategy navigates very well into those interactions. So, you know, a crucial part of the deck of Pierre might not be as effective as usual. It's going to be so interesting to see that in the final.
Speaking of the finals, we have to take one step before the finals with someone, though, that is going to be in the finals. So why don't we talk about our main feature match a little bit more? Because in the analysis corner, we have Pierre Brigals, one of our finalists, together with Mike. So Mike, take it away.
Hello again, I'm here with Pierre, our first finalist of YCS Bologna 2025, and I think, first of all, I want to congratulate you for stepping ahead and going to the YCS final. First of all, congratulations for that.
Thank you.
How do you feel?
A bit stressful, but it's okay now. I think it will be a good game. It was a great tournament, and I'm happy to be here.
Okay, happy to hear that. So, as we saw, you played Vanquish K9.
Yes.
Can you tell me about your thought process before picking this deck for this event?
I started to play this deck some months ago, before the ban list, and then I take it back 1 week ago to a regional at Paris, and the feeling with it was really great, and it's a deck that I really like. It's a cool gameplay. I really like this deck. I'm happy to bring it here.
Did you feel that K9 were a good strategy, bringing the YCS for countering the meta decks right now and trying to get along with all those cards that are in the meta and the community you plays right now in the YCS?
Yeah, I expect the last week a lot of Yumi, Mitsurugi, Dracotail, and Maliss, and I think Vanquish has a good matchup against them. For this tournament, I also expect more Cannon variants like Mitsu or Vanquish, so I prepare my deck for it, and I think it's a good call. And friends to me advised me to play this deck, so thanks to him.
First of all, I think obviously this is a good call because now you are going for the YCS final and potentially for the trophy and the YCS win. But before that, I want to have a discussion with you with some clips that we have prepared.
Okay.
The first one is regarding the effect of Holy Shoe that was answered by the Impulse. How did you felt at that point? It was one of those plays that stops you and you thought that now I lost the game, or it was something that you were expecting, and since Holy Shoe can be again activated, you were pretty confident for that?
Okay. For be honest with you, when I opened my hand, I was a bit a fear because my hand was 2 Ash Blossom, 2 Fuvalos, and 1 Madlove, so I have only one play. And if you got Bystials, Impermanence, something like this, my turn is just Ash and pass. So I'm happy to this Imper because I have only an Olisu who can summon a Raisin, who can generate 2 destruction on his turn. And I know Maliss has some issues with this kind of removal because I've played the deck before. So I was not confident, but I mean it's a fair board, I think.
I see. I mean, as we just experienced, it was a very good call, and obviously you managed to take the win and potentially going for the whole match. The other thing that I want to discuss with you is your tech choice, Inscription. So I think it is a very interesting card bringing this in this YCS because it can address so many problems like Mitsurugi, like Maliss, like Dragotail. Can you tell me more about this card?
I was looking for a card who was good going first card and was good in every matchup because I want to side out the Fivalos. And this card appeared to me like the best choice because it's a floodgate application, like you resolve it and it's applied for 2 turns. It don't impact so much Vanquish Canine. Only the effect of Don't Reborn is cut the Lupus and the... I forgot his name, the Lantern. But the no banish and no affecting Graveyard are a really good call against Dracotail and Maliss. And against Maliss, as you can see, I play it also in going second. Because if they do a mid board or something like this, I can just overlap his board with this card.
So regarding this and Dimensional Fissure, I understand because this is the real debate for your deck in which card you are going to use for going first in your side deck. I think it is one of those choices that you take to have inscription in your side deck since you can also side in going second and potentially cut people off guard, right?
Excuse me, I don't understand.
I mean, if you want to pick this or Dimensional Fissure,
Dimensional Fissure.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Dimensional Fissure is not so good in this meta actually, because there is a lot of Mitsurugi and Vanquish Canine and Maliss too, and this card is not so good against them. Also, like the Vanquish board is good because it can be removed and just be replaced every turn, and this is what I like with the deck. And if my card goes to the banish, I can just be in a situation where I can't add them back, so I didn't want to go in this situation.
I see. And lastly, I want to discuss with you the real reason for me that you decided to play Vanquish All, and I think it is the Holy Shoe on 10-0. Can you tell me more about this? How do you feel? So right here we can see that Jessica was normal summoned from Gabriel, and right now you are going to activate Holy Shoe to be special summoned from the hand and later to activate the effect to take control of Jessica. Tell me, how do you feel when you resolve such a great effect in your opponent turn?
Absolute cinema.
Is this the real reason why you choose to play this deck?
Olisu is a big part of the deck because if you can high roll every round, if you have Olisu and a white attribute in your hand, you just can do whatever you want. You have a so powerful end trap in your hand, and the card is broken. It's not the reason why I play the deck, but of course it's the best card of the deck.
I see. So I don't want to waste any more time. Again, and for the last time for today, best of luck to the rest of the tournament. You had an amazing run. One more match to go in order for you to be crowned the YCS champion.
Right.
Best of luck in the final, and we will be back soon with our YCS final of YCS Bologna 2025.